All right, get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into Switzerland. We had a listener write in and they are just dreaming of those picture perfect Swiss villages and, yeah, maybe a little chocolate too. So that's where we're headed today.
Sounds delicious to me. Chocolate in Switzerland. You can't really have one without the other.
And we're going to use Swiss Escapes, a traveler's guide to mountains, cities, and serenity to guide our deep dive today.
Oh, that's a great choice. What I like about that guide is it goes beyond, just the typical things tourists do, It really tries to dig into what makes Switzerland so unique.
I love that. That's what we like to do here on the deep dive too. And something that really stood out to me in chapter 1 was just how diverse Switzerland is, especially for a country that's, pretty small, smaller than a lot of US states.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's really incredible how much they've got packed into such a small area.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like towering mountains, peaceful lakes, rolling hills, bustling cities. It's all right there.
And that's really a huge advantage for travelers because it means you can experience so much variety even if you don't have a ton of time.
Yeah, exactly. You could be like hiking in the Alps in the morning and then, I don't know, sipping wine by a lake in the afternoon. Live it up.
Yeah, sounds pretty nice.
Right. But it's not just about the scenery, is it? The book makes a point of saying that Switzerland's history, as a neutral country, has really shaped its identity.
You're right, it has. And it's made it a very safe and welcoming place for travelers.
Yeah, from all over the world. That's so interesting. And I think that's part of what makes it so appealing to so many people. It's like a little haven.
Yeah, it's got this sense of stability and openness, and you can really feel that as you're traveling around.
I love that. And it's a true melting pot of cultures, and that's reflected in the fact that they have not one, not two, but four official languages.
For sure.
German, French, Italian, and Romansh. That just blows my mind.
It's really interesting how that plays out, too, as you move from one region to the next. Like, imagine you're driving, right? And you're going through a mountain pass,
Yeah.
and suddenly all the signs change from German to Italian.
Whoa. You'd have to like brush up on your Italian pretty quick.
Yeah. Or just use a good translation app.
Right, exactly. Use technology to your advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know that Switzerland is packed with variety, but let's zoom in on one of its, biggest draws, which are the Alps. Chapter 2 is all about exploring the Swiss Alps, and they do a really good job of breaking down the different regions.
Yeah, it's not just one giant mountain range, is it?
Right, exactly.
Each region has its own character.
If you're planning a trip, it's good to know, what you're looking for and what each region offers, right?
Yeah, totally. Like if you want that, classic picture postcard Swiss Alps experience,
Mm-hmm.
the Bernese Oberland is definitely the place to be.
Ah, the Bernese Oberland. Home to the Jungfrau, the Eiger, the Munch, like all those iconic peaks.
Exactly. And nestled among those peaks are these charming villages like Grindelwald. The book actually recommends that for both summer and winter adventures.
So no matter what time of year you go, Grindelwald is a good choice.
Yeah, whether you're into, skiing or hiking or just taking in the scenery.
Now, I love to get away from the crowds. I'm that kind of traveler, so the Engadine Valley really caught my eye.
Yeah, that's a great choice for that. It's got pristine lakes, beautiful mountain views,
Mm.
and it's definitely more off the beaten path.
So it's quieter.
Yeah, quieter and more peaceful.
I love that.
This is actually where you find Piz Bernina,
Mm-hmm.
which is the highest peak in the Eastern Alps.
Wow, okay. So that's for, like, more experienced hikers and climbers.
Yeah, it can be a little more challenging, but that's part of the appeal.
Yeah, definitely.
For the right kind of traveler.
Right. Okay, but we can't talk about the Swiss Alps without mentioning the Matterhorn, right? That iconic, jagged peak.
Oh, absolutely not. That's definitely on everyone's bucket list.
Right. Like you see a picture of that and you're looking at Switzerland.
And that beauty is the crown jewel of the Valais region.
Golly.
This is a region of contrasts. You've got towering mountains meeting fertile valleys.
So you have a bit of everything.
It's beautiful.
And I know this region is also home to Zermatt, which is a picture-perfect village that's completely car-free.
Car-free. So how do you even get there?
Right.
You take a train.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience. And once you're in Zermatt, you're surrounded by these incredible views of the Matterhorn. It's a paradise for hikers and skiers.
I'm definitely adding Zermatt to my list. But I have to ask about the Swiss National Park. This sounds like a completely different side to Switzerland.
Yeah, it is. No ski resorts, no fancy hotels,
Yeah.
just pure wilderness.
Wow.
Totally protected.
So that's more for the nature lovers.
If you're a nature lover who wants, a truly immersive experience,
Mm-hmm.
then the Swiss National Park is a must-see. Keep an eye out for ibex
Ibex.
and marmor.
Okay, I'll have to Google what those look like.
Yeah, they're really unique creatures.
Okay, wow, I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed with all these incredible options. Let's say you're trying to choose between two really popular spots like Zermatt and Interlaken.
Oh, that's a good question. It's a tough choice.
Yeah, so what are the key differences?
Well, Zermatt, as we said, is car-free, dominated by the Matterhorn.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for winter sports and for summer hiking.
So if you want to be like right in the heart of the mountains, Zermatt's a good choice.
Exactly.
What about Interlaken?
Interlaken has a much more lively vibe. It's actually nestled between two lakes, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz.
Two lakes.
And it's kind of like a gateway to the Bernese Oberland. Lots of adventure activities, paragliding, whitewater rafting.
Oh, wow. And didn't you say that Interlaken is also home to the Jungfraujoch?
Yes, the highest railway station in Europe.
You can take a train to the top of Europe. That just blows my mind.
It's amazing.
So Interlaken is more for the adventurous traveler.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a good hub for exploring the region.
Okay, so we've got the mountain lovers covered.
Yeah.
But I know that not everyone is drawn to the heights. Chapter 3 is all about city escapes, and the book focuses on Zurich, Geneva, and Basel.
Yeah, each city has its own personality.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
it's important to realize that
Yeah,
that Switzerland's urban experiences are just as diverse as its landscapes.
absolutely.
Zurich is kind of the financial powerhouse,
Yeah.
but it's also got a surprisingly strong cultural scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've always pictured Zurich as very, modern and sleek, but not necessarily like super cultural.
yeah, you might be surprised. Like, if you're an art enthusiast, the Kunsthaus Zurich is a must-see.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the Bahnhofstrasse for, upscale shopping,
Fancy shopping, yeah.
and Niederdorf for the nightlife.
Okay, so Zurich has a bit of everything.
It does. What about Geneva?
Geneva is very cosmopolitan, very international.
Yeah, because of the UN and all that. Right, exactly. But what's interesting about Geneva is the contrast between that modern side and the charm of its old town.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you can't forget about the Jet d'Eau.
The Jet d'Eau, what's that?
It's this massive water fountain on Lake Geneva.
You can't miss it.
No, you can't miss it. It's a landmark.
Okay, so Geneva is for the traveler who likes that, global atmosphere.
Yeah, and a bit of history, too.
Okay. What about Basel?
Basel is a hub for art and architecture.
Oh, okay.
Like, the Kunstmuseum Basel is world-renowned.
And it's also right on the border of France and Germany.
Right, which gives it this really cool cultural blend.
So it's kind of a melting pot?
Exactly.
Hmm.
And the Rhine River runs through it, so it's got this added element of, scenic beauty.
Oh, that's nice. You can, take a walk along the river.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Now, before we move on from the cities, can we just talk about the food for a sec? I'm curious about the culinary scene in these urban centers.
Yeah, definitely. No matter what you're looking for, whether it's, traditional Swiss food or international cuisine, you'll find it in these cities.
Oh, good. So you can get your fondue fix and then, have some Thai food the next night.
Exactly. There's something for everyone.
Okay, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But let's save the food deep dive for later, because right now I want to talk about those incredible Swiss lakes. Chapter 4 is all about lakes and Serenity, and they have got me excited.
Yeah, the lakes are incredible.
I mean, we've already talked about Lake Geneva, but there's also Lake Lucerne, Lake Thun. They're more than just pretty backdrops, right?
Right. Each lake has its own kind of character.
And its own activities.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Lake Geneva, it's huge. It's surrounded by mountains and vineyards.
Vineyards.
Yes, vineyards.
Okay. I'm listening.
So you can imagine like wine tasting cruises, that kind of thing.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
It's very cosmopolitan.
Okay, but what about Lake Lucerne?
Lake Lucerne is very picturesque. Imagine crystal clear water surrounded by mountains and historic landmarks.
Oh, I love those historic landmarks.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like the Chapel Bridge in Lucerne is a must-see.
Okay, that one I've seen pictures of. It's very iconic.
Very iconic, yeah. And then there's Lake Thun, which is a bit smaller, more tranquil, but still incredibly beautiful.
So if you're looking to just chill out and relax.
Lake Thun's a good choice. It's surrounded by mountains, too, so you still get those stunning views.
Oh, okay. I love that. Each lake has its own, vibe.
Exactly. You got to find the right lake for you,
Right, right. And speaking of vibes, the book highlights some really charming lakeside villages.
Yeah, these are great places to experience Swiss life at a slower pace.
Get away from the hustle and bustle.
Exactly. And each village has its own unique character. Like, for example, there's Montreux,
Montreux.
which is on Lake Geneva.
Mm-hmm.
It's known for its gorgeous gardens.
Oh, love.
And the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Oh, wow. So it's a bit of a cultural hub, too.
Yeah. It is.
Cool. What about Wiggins?
Wagons is on Lake Lucerne. It's got incredible views, great for swimming, hiking.
Sounds very idyllic.
Very idyllic.
Perfect for a relaxing getaway.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Interlaken, which we've talked about already.
Yeah, Interlaken keeps popping up.
It does, doesn't it? It's located between two lakes, so it's got a lot to offer.
It's versatile.
Very versatile, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the destinations, but now I want to get into how you actually get to experience them. Chapter 5 is all about the scenic routes, and the book makes a really good point. Transportation in Switzerland is part of the experience.
Absolutely. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about the journey itself.
Yeah, and when it comes to scenic routes, Switzerland is famous for its train journeys.
World-renowned.
Okay, let's talk trains. The Glacier Express, for example, goes from St. Moritz to Zermatt.
Right through the Alps.
Through the Alps.
8 hours.
8 hours on a train.
It's a long time.
Sounds like a long time, but I've heard it's just absolutely breathtaking.
It is. You've got those panoramic windows, the slow pace. You can really savor the beauty of the Alps, and the engineering feat of the Albula Pass is incredible.
That's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
It is.
Okay, so that's like a must-do.
Yeah, definitely.
What about the Bernina Express? I've heard that one crosses into Italy.
It does. That one goes from Trur to Tirano, so you get to see the high alpine scenery, and then you descend into the Puscapo Valley.
Which has an Italian influence.
Yeah, which has a very Italian influence.
So you get the best of both worlds.
You do. And the spiral tunnels on that route are amazing.
Spiral tunnels, like the train goes in a spiral.
It does, yeah. It's how they navigate that steep terrain.
That's incredible. Okay, so trains are a must-do. But what about those cable cars and funiculars you see in all the photos?
Those are essential, too. Those are how you reach a lot of the mountaintop viewpoints.
And some of those villages we were talking about.
Yeah, some of the villages are only accessible by cable car.
I'm a little scared of heights, but I can imagine the views must be incredible.
They are breathtaking. You're soaring above these valleys and peaks.
Wow.
Like, to get to the Jungfraujoch, you have to take a combination of trains and funiculars.
Oh.
And then in Grindelwald, you can take a cable car up to First, which is this mountaintop plateau
Okay.
with hiking trails and other activities.
So it's like Adventure Central.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And in Zermatt, the Gornergratbahn takes you to a viewpoint with panoramic views of the Matterhorn.
Okay, so you can choose your adventure.
Exactly. Do you want to hike, take a train, take a cable car?
There are so many options.
It's all part of the experience.
It's amazing how they've made transportation an adventure in itself.
It really is.
Mhm.
You're not just getting from point A to point B, you're having an experience along the way.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we've established that Switzerland is about more than just ticking off famous landmarks. It's about immersing yourself in the culture, the scenery, and the unique character of its regions. And that brings us to Chapter 6, Charming Swiss Villages.
This is where you can really connect with the heart and soul of Switzerland.
Yeah, you can experience the traditions, the craftsmanship.
The warmth of the people.
Okay, let's dive into some of these villages. We keep coming back to Grindelwald, and it sounds like it has a lot to offer beyond just, being a base for mountain adventures.
Oh yeah, definitely. Grindelwald is a perfect example of a traditional Swiss alpine village.
What's it like?
Picture charming chalets nestled into the valley, surrounded by those towering peaks.
Very picturesque.
Yeah, it's very peaceful. You can enjoy the local cuisine, soak in the scenery.
That's like the perfect place to unplug and recharge.
Yeah, it is.
What about Lauterbrunnen? I've heard it called the Valley of 72 Waterfalls.
That's right. It's a truly magical place.
Yeah.
You've got these cascading waterfalls just plunging down these sheer cliff faces.
So it's like a symphony of sound.
It is, and a spectacle of nature. You've got the Staubach Falls, one of the tallest in Europe.
And those are a must-see.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then there's the Trummelbach Falls, which are underground.
Underground.
Yeah, and you can access them through tunnels. It's a really unique experience.
Okay, I'm adding Lauterbrunnen to my list.
You should.
72 waterfalls. Come on, that's incredible. And what about Appenzell? I know that it's known for its traditional architecture and its unique customs.
Yeah, Appenzell is a gem. It has a very different vibe than the alpine villages.
How so?
It's got more rolling hills, and the architecture is very distinctive.
Oh.
Like, you'll notice the green tower of the church right away.
Green Tower. Okay, is there a story behind that?
There are many stories, but that's part of what makes these villages so fascinating.
Yeah, they're full of history and folklore.
And speaking of unique customs, Appenzell Inner Roads is worth mentioning.
What's that?
It's like a mini-state within a state.
A mini-state?
Yeah, it's a half canton within Appenzell.
Half canton.
which means it has its own government, and it's known for having some of the strongest traditions in Switzerland.
So it's like a little pocket of
Yeah,
tradition.
exactly. They've really preserved their culture.
I love that. And the book makes a good point that if you want to experience Swiss culture authentically, look beyond those main attractions.
Go deeper.
Yeah, go deeper, delve into these smaller villages.
Exactly. It's about engaging with the local life, the traditions, the craftsmanship.
So how can travelers actually do that? What are some ways to experience authentic Swiss culture?
Well, the book suggests looking into local festivals,
Okay, like what kind of festivals?
like Fastnacht, which
Fastnacht.
is the Swiss carnival.